welcome everyone, good morning. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you're all properly hydrated and caffeinated, depending on how much fun you had last night. So let's kick off this session. The title of this session is Liberty Memes, Life After the Zuckening. This session will feature David Gay, one of the creators of the popular page Liberty Memes. Liberty Memes had the largest collection of Liberty-themed memes, but prior to the Facebook censorship. So he's going to talk to you all about that today. Please join me in welcoming David Gay.
I was kind of busy browsing memes and didn't really want to get up here just yet, but whatever, it's time to do this. So my brother can't be here today, that's Peter Gay. And yeah, we were both born gay. So that SOB's not here. Realize what I just called my mom when I just called him SOB? And I'm a Christian boy, we don't talk that way. Here we go. So let's gather around some memes. Here we go to like a Bible camp or a vacation Bible study, and there's like the cool youth pastor who's like, hey everybody, let's get down with the Word of God. So that's like this. I'm like that sometimes. Anyway, so I was gonna just give a talk about what Liberty Memes has been doing since Facebook censored us, and yeah, I do believe that it's censorship. I'll get to that in a second. But I also felt kind of bad that I hadn't prepared any memes for you guys. Kind of like Lady Gaga when she went from being a pop singer to a country singer, and her fans were like, what the? So I put together like a slap together thing, memes. Just some stuff for you to enjoy. So, some other stuff happened recently that was meme-worthy. Which reminds me that the National Women's March is today. So they're marching for some reason. I don't know what it is. They're in a country where women have, everybody has pretty much maximum rights, except when the government abuses anybody, and that's pretty indiscriminate. Instead of marching somewhere where they'll get killed for it, but they're not even protesting for rights in those countries. They're protesting for rights in a country where you have maximum rights. And, it's pretty ridiculous. So then we get to this lady. In 73 years, I've not marched for anything, but this president is so bad. Here I am. I was an adult during Jim Crow, the fight for black civil rights, and the war in Vietnam, but didn't protest until the Cheeto dictator beat my beloved white neoliberal lady. That's what that really means. So, Trump. Did you see Colbert last night? Yes, ha ha ha. Did you see Kimmel? Yes, ha ha ha. Did you see Trevor Noah? Yes, ha ha ha. Did you see Fallon? Yes, ha ha ha. Did you see Bill Maher? Yes, ha ha ha. Did you see SNL? Yes, ha ha ha. Oh man, and they were really offended by all this stuff, especially the NPC meme. It was dehumanizing or whatever it was, and that I think might be one of the reasons they really wanted to get rid of Liberty Memes, because we really caught on to this trend, and we were really going, if I can say this without being dirty, balls to the walls with it. And it was a lot of fun until they shut us down. Well, we'll do it anyway. Even when they take us down, we'll just put another page up. Where they took us down, a couple thousand pages popped up, and none of us are us. None of them are us. And it's because it became a movement and this game of page whack-a-mole. So Facebook, whenever they take down a Liberty News page, another 20 would pop up. Yeah, I want to get rid of that. And it just kept coming. But we do what we can to push the envelope. It's funny, we would get in trouble for something like that, but a liberal publication like the New Yorker, just a couple months after a terrorist attack, can do this. It's not racist when they put a towel on someone's head who's destroying the Twin Towers. Yeah, but nowadays, if you make 9/11 jokes, never forget it. That's a good hobby. You get called a liberal. See, I really hate it when Democrats call me a Republican. I really extra hate it when I'm called a Democrat for some reason. But then there's this problem with Republicans is they're all a bunch of socialists. You know, I like doing this where I just scroll through memes because they pretty much speak for themselves. So I get a bunch of notifications in the side, and I don't care if you ignore them or read them. I really don't care. This is what I deal with all day. All day. About 50,000 notifications. I never actually click on them. But, you know, the modern Republican, the conservatives, they don't really care that their leader is not a conservative and doesn't keep any of his promises that actually were conservative. So, we're in, what day is it of the shutdown now? 29? So, you know, this would be funny, but I think that's like just after he finished watching porn. And I'll tell you why. There was a news article that just came out this week that said after the shutdown, porn consumption has increased like tenfold in the DC area. And it's not because they have nothing to do and now they're at home watching porn. It's because they're watching porn now on computers that actually have location tracking. So now they know, and that's what they do all day anyway. And it's funny because there was something came out, I can't remember which government agency it was, where a bunch of workers were caught with, you know, really nasty, illegal pornography, really nasty stuff. And they said, oh, they found this, and then they took away their computers. They didn't go to jail. That's what our government does all day, and the look on his face, that's what he was. Hopefully he gets to this. That would be nice. But, you know, people are suffering. You know, government workers are having trouble feeding their family, and that's why good people like Kirsten Gillibrand are going to run for president to take care of them. All right, that's the kind of thing that gets me in trouble. It's funny. I'm glad I came here. I'm glad I came here for the first night because I was at the awards dinner and Liberty Memes is a sponsor this year. It means we shelled out a few bucks for it. We actually, fortunately, have a way of making money now through Patreon. So we have Patreon subscribers who have taken care of us, and we're now raising $5,000 a month, which that $5,000 is exactly what we had to pay to be here today. So that's great. Took care of that. But the program had Facebook listed right next to us as sponsors. And what I love about that is they're a gold level sponsor, which means they gave $10,000. So they had to pay twice as much to be right next to Liberty Memes in the program. But they did pay for our drinks last night, and that was really nice. So I drank a lot of extra alcohol. I don't usually do that. But I definitely wanted Facebook to pay for my album. Oh, the Mises Institute, there was really good people. So we're in the current year, and we're still dealing with the same crap from Facebook that we've always dealt with, and social media is a real challenge to get through and still be effective and as activists and continue to promote our liberty message, especially when it's through memes and little tiny quips that you post on the internet. If those aren't allowed to go viral, things can be pretty difficult. And it's even more difficult when you consider this. I miss that gorilla so damn much. I don't think I have anything left in the slideshow, and I'll just leave it at that. So in October of last year, just a couple of weeks before the election, Facebook took down the main Liberty Memes page. Much like the Cincinnati Zoo took down Corona. And it was difficult. We were pretty angry, and we wanted to get back, and we wanted to get our page back, and we wanted to do all sorts of things to raise awareness about Facebook censorship. And yes, I call it censorship because Facebook takes a lot of money from the government and from a lot of governments, and they take a lot of direction from a lot of governments around the world. They even, when someone posts from a page anonymously, they'll reveal that person's identity to governments who in turn oppress these people. This happens all over the world: Turkey, Ecuador, Saudi Arabia. You post anonymously on Facebook, they'll tell your government on you who you really are, so that you can be punished for your speech. So yes, I call it censorship because they do this at the direction of governments. Can you prove that? I guess there's some cases. I'm not a journalist, so I'm not going to be able to give you exact sources. It's just not what I do. We do try to only tell the truth on Liberty Memes, though, so when something that's not true ends up on our page, if we posted it, we correct it and take it down. We Tower 7 it. Make it Tower 7 jokes. We take it down. Gosh, you guys. Take it down on purpose. So I think that fighting social media censorship, it's a noble cause if you think that you're going to get enough awareness where these people are actually going to fold and stop censoring you, but I don't think that's going to happen. And so we have to shift our focus, because I think it becomes a distraction where all we do is talk about Facebook being censors, and all we do is talk about, oh, well, they didn't let me do this, and they didn't. And so your enemies rejoice because their mission is accomplished, you've been silenced, and new people don't really care. They're like, this is not my fight. So you're not going to reach any new people with that. And so Liberty Memes in the last year, and I can't give you exact figures, but it's estimated over $200,000 was raised for charity through Liberty Memes. And this was like a myriad of different things, just like whatever would come up, just like totally at random. You know, a little girl needed a kidney transplant, and the associated cost, we didn't pay for a kidney. Buying kidneys on the black market. She needed $30,000 for associated costs with kidney transplant. Somebody wanted to save a few horses from a kill pen. Another lady had some difficulties with vet bills for some of her animals. I rescued a blind cat, and now that's my pet, by the way. His eyes were bulging like out of its head very far, and it was going to die. It was about this big, and now she's really big, and she jumps all over everything, and she's awesome. That was a cat that the Liberty Memes people rescued. And there was a lady who was risking foreclosure. Now, it's interesting. Last night, somebody who had been a professor at Syracuse University, which is a couple blocks from my house, gave a speech, and he said that it's proven that liberals and redistributionists are the least giving people on the planet. And I put that theory to test last year, actually. We had someone who Wells Fargo was foreclosing on. And she was just somebody who came to Liberty Memes and said, I need help. I need to keep my house. And in one sense, yeah, a bank has a right to foreclose on people who don't make payments. In another sense, she was being really abused by this bank. They were killing her, and they were just doing bad things. So we went to Occupy Democrats to give this a little test run. And I found their first post that had to do with banks, because they're all angry at the capitalists and whatever, and I posted her GoFundMe link as the first comment on Occupy Democrats, and that post that they made was going viral very quickly, and ours was the top comment, and it said, help this victim of abuse by wild, unfettered capitalism, and she's going to lose her house if our liberal community doesn't rally around it. It got the most likes. It got the most comments underneath it, and 0 donations. 0. And then we're talking about thousands of people commented on this. She needed 10 grand. If they had all given $10, she would have kept her house. So we brought it back to the Liberty Memes community, which is only 18,000 people, not like a 5 million people page. We've only got a little subgroup at this point. And we just use those 18,000. And of the 18,000, there's only like 7% that are actually actively involved in any of these charities. And with that little 7%, it's like, at the time, it was like only 800 people. We saved this lady's house. She got to stay. So, the reason I tell this story about charity is libertarians have this moniker, we have this nickname that we've been given, that's the greedy libertarians and the stingy libertarians. And in a way, we kind of deserve it because of our own rhetoric. Yes, it's right to tell the government, stay away from my pocket, stay away from my money, this is mine, I earned it, you didn't, this doesn't belong to you, taxation is theft. Those are good things to believe. But we've taught ourselves that giving is bad. And I think that's the wrong way to go. We need to go an extra step. Giving is bad when you're forced to do it. It's not giving, you're being robbed. But it's not a bad thing to be charitable and be the people that others like in the world. I mean, I know libertarians don't want anybody to like them. God forbid. But I think that this is a way that we can change the culture. You know, people aren't socialists just because they're bad people and they want to do bad things to you. And people are socialists because we're raised in public schools to be socialists. When you have a problem or when a social issue that your teacher wants to teach you about, like bad touching, she says, what happens when you're touched wrongly? Go to your teacher, go to a counselor. Those two are government employees. When something's wrong in your neighborhood, call the police. If you're hungry, go to the food stamps office. If you need medical care, go to Medicaid. And so we've been taking random GoFundMes, just random. We don't raise it for ourselves. We grab their thing and just give them money straight to them. You know, for people all over the world who have random needs, it could be $1,000, it could be $60,000, it could be $500 for an emergency car repair, and we'll just do this for these people. And the good thing about GoFundMe is there's a comment section, and you can say Liberty Memes sent me, or Libertarians care. And these people, I don't know what walk of life they did, but almost everybody came through that socialist schooling system. And so they didn't get help from the government. The government wasn't there for them, but libertarians were. And so they go back to their church, they go to their neighborhood, they go to their friends, they go to their family, they go to their school or their job, and they say, why did libertarians do this? You know, well, I guess they're good people. Nobody's going to say, well, what's their motive? Those jerks, they gave you a bunch of money and helped you keep your house. Those jerks saved your life. What's their motive? You know, they're not going to say that. They're going to say, wow, libertarians are the most charitable people. And I think that's one of the things that we're doing with Liberty Memes. So now that if our stuff isn't going viral, we don't even care anymore because we've got a lot of people who have come together because they originally saw a meme that they liked, that they agreed with, came over to our group and are engaged in making the world a better place. And I'm an eternal optimist for things like this. You're not going to get people to stop being socialists just by telling them that socialism fails and is not the solution. We know that capitalism is the solution. We know the free market is the solution, but it's not enough to just tell people that it's the solution. We have to actually be that solution. So that's what we do at Liberty Memes. And if anybody has any questions or want to take a picture or anything like that, I'm going to be next door at the Liberty Memes booth. Thank you.
Thank you so much, David. We're going to be actually, before you go to the booth next door, we're going to continue Q&A across the hall in the continuing conversation. It's in Salon 14 and 15, so if you have any